Yeah, no, I play with Gretzky. I play with Wayne. Yeah, my first goal, matter of fact, was on an assist of Wayne Gretzky, and my first point was on the goal of Gretzky where I had an assist. So
Hello, Eagles fans. It's Patrick McNeil, radio announcer for the Cape Breton Eagles, and joined by my co-host, Brad Chandler, Eagles Director of Communications, for our first ever installment of Inside the Nest. The calendar has turned. We're in La Belle Provence for the 2024 opening road trip. Brad, how excited are you to be on the road with the Eagles? And I guess, what are your thoughts on the current state of the team as we roll into this new year?
Well, Patty, let me just say this right now. For the first installment of Inside the Nest, we are in fact not inside the nest. So
we're lying
we
to the people right away?
blew it right off the bat.
No credibility. No credibility. How about that? Just tell how excited are you to be on the road, and what are your thoughts, I guess, on the first few weeks and first few months working with the Eagles?
Oh, it's been awesome, man. I feel like I'm getting really comfortable with all the boys and everyone in the office. So I think doing a trip like this would be a lot harder a month ago or 6 weeks ago or 2 months ago, however long it's been. But I just feel like I'm with all my friends now. So here we are, Patty.
Well, that's good, but there are new faces that are getting to know their new teammates because Lucas Romeo and Noah Larochelle joined the team on the road.
That's right.
They joined a team, I think, that ended the calendar year of 2023 on a positive note with the win over Halifax. And maybe this team rounding into form, do you think?
You know what? I think we're looking good. I feel very optimistic. Then again, I'm not a GM or an expert.
We have one coming on the show, I hear.
We do have a GM. But yeah, no, I think Sly has. I think a lot of people have a lot of faith in Sly. He's done what any good GM should do, and he said he's going to make our team better. And I think in this last week he's shown that. And I think this is a big trade period, and it's kind of set us up I think we're looking really good for the not just next year or this year, but also the year after. As we spoke as well, because you got those 17-year-olds as well, Lavoie, Yak. We're getting all these young guys, and it's like, and that's not even the guys that aren't even up on the main roster yet. So, because we have a lot of good talent in Junior A and a lot of 16-year-olds, so I'm feeling good.
Yeah, Sly's going to tell us all about that. And we should mention, too, now that it's January, this is the month that Thomas Lavoie is going to the top prospects game. That's pretty exciting.
Yeah, that's a big deal, eh? How many players do you remember from Eagles history that have gone?
Good question. Randy Copley, way back when, in the first year.
Inverness.
Yeah, there you go. Shout out West Side. We are a team of the whole island. Ryan Francis was a late addition. He should have been there right from the beginning. Sokolov, then he didn't get drafted, but then he got drafted 2 years after. Dubois, my favorite story is I believe he was player of the game for his team, and the game was on Sportsnet, and after the game was over, Ken Reed, who is a lover of all things Pictou County but promotes all Nova Scotia, said Pierre-Luc Dubois, he's getting a gift certificate from the Mayflower Mall for his performance tonight, which turned out to be purely fiction, I asked, but I figured maybe there's an ounce of truth to that. So Dubois, Francis, Sokolov. This is off the cuff, folks, so I don't have any preparation, but it's not unprecedented, but it never stops being exciting seeing one of your players on the national stage.
And that's a big deal. Like, I don't know if people, that is a big deal because I think Lav is one of 4 guys in the league.
Yeah, a bit of a dry year for the Q, but that's unfortunate. But it's cool that if there's only 4, that it's one of them's going to be an Eagle. That's pretty good.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So, and especially a big kid like that, like you wait 17 years old, wait till he's 25.
Doesn't look 17.
No, he does not. You know what? I've noticed we have a lot of the same, like up in the office we wear, but we wear a lot of the same Eagles merch and stuff as the players. And when I'm out with the players, I get a lot of questions like, "Oh, you guys are playing pretty good." I'm like, "Yeah, they're playing pretty good." But I mean, I guess like I am just a couple years older than some of the players, but
I feel like if I take my hat off, nobody would ask. That's
yeah.
just
you
kind
probably get the same treatment, eh?
I mean, every now and then.
Yeah.
I have been told I look younger than I am, but maybe not that much younger.
Eagles head coach Patty McNeil.
Yeah, maybe that's could work my way up from radio announcing. You
Yeah.
pick an interesting time to be on the road because in the middle of the trade period, the team goes on the road. Do you sense kind of a weird energy about that, or I guess it's more excitement about the guys that are coming in?
Yeah, I mean, I can tell that I'm sure it's kind of a nerve-wracking time for some of the players, not really knowing where you're going. We kind of mentioned, perfect example is just, on this road trip, we picked up 2 players on the way here, and that was their introduction to the team. We picked up Roms and where was that? I don't even remember where
I think he went over with the PEI guys, brought him over.
Yeah.
Or
yeah, from
maybe
PEI.
he went to No, we picked him up in Moncton. And
Yeah.
I think he was already with Patterson.
So his introduction to the team was he just jumped on the bus and said, "Hey
Yeah.
guys, how's it going?" And that's literally how it is. And then at practice this morning, Larochelle landed, and there you go.
That's junior hockey. Sometimes it's not always glamorous. You might make a combination to just pick somebody up on the side of the road,
Yeah,
or an
literally.
airport, or someone's house, or whatnot. But the trade period, you feel a little bit bad if guys get traded. But obviously,
Yeah.
it's exciting too. It's a time of change.
Yeah.
Memories over the years of big trades I can remember, whether a team's buying or selling, or whether you just get something like totally out of nowhere. Those are some of the things that are imprinted on your mind as the years go on.
What are some of the bigger trade periods you remember?
I think for Eagles fans with longer memories, and I don't know if this is a sore subject at this point, would be the Boomerang trade with Halifax. That's going back to 2002, 2003, where the Eagles shipped a bunch of players to Halifax for picks, and people. Well, we're going to talk about this spoiler with Sly about how these things get out, and it kind of quickly became apparent that there was going to be their favor return the following year, and then the year after, those guys were going to go back to Halifax. A controversial trade that has probably not been replicated for good reason. That's one that stands out. Luc Bourdon coming to Cape Breton, the trade deadline right after he scored the big goal at the World Juniors. That's certainly pretty memorable. So, those are a few that stick out off the top of my head.
Yeah, I was actually saying to Patty the other day that I was at a wedding and ran into former Eagle Sean Miller, and he was telling me about when Drake Batherson got traded to Blainville, and apparently he said they were buddies, and Drake told him, like, yeah, I'm coming to Blainville, it's gonna be sick, and Sean was fired up because he said, like, oh, it's gonna be awesome, my buddy up here, and we're gonna have a great time. And Sean said he went to the rink, and then his equipment manager kind of just gave him one of these. He said, "Yeah, you're going back the other way, bud."
That happens more than you think.
Yeah.
Not a trade period trade, but Brad Lalonde played for the Eagles in 13-14 and 14-15, and one of his best friends was Ty Fournier. And Brad Lalonde got traded to Victoriaville, and he was excited that he was going to be reunited with Ty Fournier until he found out that Ty Fournier was going the other way.
Oh, no way.
And not quite the same, but along the idea of similar parallels between players. Shout out to my own Twitter account for the breaking the news about Lucas Romeo and Will Shields having the same birthday 1 year
that
apart.
was good.
Yeah.
Hey, I think you're probably the only guy that would pick up on something like that.
I've developed a cult following for birthdays. I have to double check this, but pretty sure Thomas Cibulka is the first whatever day he was born on. I have to go backtrack to see what day that is.
The first Eagle with that birthday?
With that birthday. Believe it or not, there's still some days missing. This is a leap year. February 29th is covered. Graham Power played in the early days of the Eagles. He's a February 29th.
Damn.
I think there might be a few others. There's a couple of famous examples in hockey. Henri Richard, it's February 29th.
Is that right?
Yeah, Cam Ward, February 29th as
Nice.
well. So we got to tie this all together. We're in a leap year, so this is important. And going into this year, I think it was pretty exciting to have that big game against Halifax. It was a loss, obviously, but the game against St. John before, both huge crowds.
Yeah.
Definitely different atmosphere, different energy in the building. You probably even noticed that being on the bench and warm up, taking pictures.
Oh,
and
it's
stuff.
awesome, man. Like everyone knows that, right? Like even like fans know that. I mean, I guess it doesn't like anyone would know that. I guess more fans makes it funner, but
Absolutely.
it's like everyone. You can always see that people are talking about that. Is that everybody's having fun on the ice? The players would tell you that, and I think fans think that players don't acknowledge that kind of stuff. Because, I mean, obviously they're locked into the game, and once the game starts, they are focused on the game. But it's like the players ask me all the time, like, what was the number last night? How many people did we get last night? And how many are we expecting next week and stuff like that? So, like, that's a big deal. and people care about that kind of stuff. Or the players care about that. Excuse me.
Absolutely. And I will say, it's always been a thing. Players always want to play in front of big crowds. But I don't know if I've ever had a team in the years that I've been working with the Eagles that has been so vocal about that. Like this group of guys in particular, like it started with the CBU night against Halifax as well. Just say it's a different game. There's different energy. It's as you said, it's just more fun. And,
well, look how much it's helped. I mean, who's to say it could just be a coincidence, but it's like every time we've hit that big crowd, we've played strong games.
Yep.
I guess except for the Halifax.
Even though that was a well played game. Yeah.
So it's like it's definitely atmosphere and energy is a big thing, and I mean we're at the Videotron Center or Videotron Center.
Yeah.
Here in Quebec, which is I think 20,000 seat. Something like
that? 18.
NHL size or whatever that is, 18 in standing room or whatever.
Yeah.
And I was saying that to Lav today. I was just like, man, like imagine we had a full house. What center do 100? Like just under 6?
5,000.
5,000?
5,000.
It's like put 5,000 in that building and it's not. It would be nothing. It'd be like there was nobody there.
Right.
But it's all about the atmosphere because if you're in a smaller building with more people, it's like that's what you want. You want the atmosphere, not necessarily. The number.
Yeah, exactly. And those, like, the memories stay in your brain because I don't know if it was you or it was Nick or Carter, one of the social media guys, shout out to whoever had the graphic up about that game against St. John being the biggest crowd since, I think, 2019. So the biggest crowd of the 2020s, we can say, which is crazy to, like, frame it in that. Because actually, the end of this year will be halfway through the decade, which is absolutely wild. Yeah. Roaring 20s are just roaring right by us.
Holy frig. January 3rd and you're already talking about 2025?
Yeah, I'm just really, just always thinking about the future. But I can still...
So Sylvain Couturier.
Yeah, that's right. We're gonna little teaser for what's going on next. You look back at that game, I can still remember that game, though. It was like the biggest crowd. I can remember the last time we had 4,000 before those two games. So that game against Rimouski. I remember it was a big thing. Betcha people watching, if they've been fans of the Eagles for years, probably remember because it was Lafreniere's draft year. He's in town. Irwin was in town for it. The Eagles and Rimouski are battling for positioning in the standings, and the Eagles get a big win. Lafreniere doesn't get any points. And of course, it ends up being a small net negative because we pass them in the standings, and then we have to draft lower and don't get any advantage because there's no playoffs. But we're going to talk about that. This is supposed to be a happy podcast, but I remember that game was a lot of fun. I always remember the games with the big crowds, and I'll remember, I'm sure, the St. John and Halifax game. Just the fact to have those big crowds back to back is pretty special. And
like a statement win to 10-3. But it's funny because you ask some fans, it's like I bet you a lot of people would have preferred, even though we lost that game. They're two different kinds of games, but I mean, anybody who follows the team, they want it. It's like no one's gonna say anything bad about a 10-3 win.
No, but that's part of the beauty of sports, though, right? Is getting two different types of games. This is way off topic, but I remember the 2017 playoffs. Played Gatineau in the first round. Both games 1 and game 2 both went to OT. Game 1 was 1-0. Game 2 was 7-6.
Damn.
And somebody told me you saw two wildly entertaining games for different reasons, and they were both great, but they were different games. Now, if you were not following the Eagles closely, both games went to overtime, 1-0, 7-6. Which game do you think ended quicker in OT?
The 1-0 and 7-6?
Yeah.
7-6.
1-0 ended within like 2 minutes
away?
of OT.
Holy frig.
So, these are the things that I remember.
I mean, that game would be fun in terms of excitement. I mean, if there's chances. I mean, a 0-0 game with lots of chances is a great game.
The game against Halifax wasn't that was scoreless after 2 periods.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right.
And it didn't feel like it by the time the game was over because both goalies were good, but then the goals came in the third period. But an exciting game is an exciting game, whether it's because of goals, hits, saves, block shots, whatever you prefer.
Exciting. It'll be exciting here on Friday for against Quebec.
Yeah.
I think it's like a whiteout night.
Yeah, and first game of the new year, too.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
There you go.
Always exciting when, a Quebec team comes in because you don't see them that often. I always look forward to those games.
Yeah, that'll be good.
It's and also too first chance to see some new players.
I was gonna say they look great today in practice.
Yeah. And the jersey change too. Get to see them in white instead of black.
Yes. Yeah. You need to explain that because I don't know if I don't know if generally known or if people notice that. But
Right. So in the Q, and I think it's custom in the other two CHL leagues as well. I'm not 100% sure that once the new year rolls over, teams switch. So obviously the Eagles have been wearing black at home and have been wearing gold, the alternates every now and then. And then once the calendar, the new year comes in, you switch so that the home team will wear white and the visiting team will wear color. And then once the playoffs come around, it reverts back. So I'm not sure from a logistical point of view how that's going to work with colored. I mean, obviously it's happened in the past because the Eagles have worn green in the second half of the season. The yellow, you might actually be able to get away with the other team wearing their like color jerseys against it. I'm not sure what you'd be shocked. Like the league has. I don't know if I should be saying this, but I think enough time has passed that I can bring this story up. A few years ago, the Eagles had gold alternate jerseys, and they were really nice. I really liked them. And they had a 6-game road trip through Quebec, and they wore the alternates every game. And I think that like ruffled some feathers because there's so many particulars about. Don't quote me on that. There's so many particulars about protocols and stuff.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of red tape and all that. But I don't know if we can wear the yellow against other teams' colors. But really getting off on a tangent here. But teams change at the halfway point, and then it goes back in the playoffs.
Shall we go get Mr. Man himself, Sly Couturier?
I think Sly is ready to make his podcast debut.
He's got lots to say, I bet. Big trade period. He was busy.
Yeah.
It was a slow trade period, but he was busy this week.
He was busy relative to the amount of activity we saw in the league.
And he has been very busy before trades were made because it's a tough racket.
Yeah.
Trying to make trades. He's on the phone all the time.
Well, it's probably a scenario where for every trade that's made, there's maybe 100 that are proposed that don't. So even a trade, so-and-so gets traded for a 4th-round pick. Well, I mean, how much haggling went into that specific price, right?
It's a crazy job.
Yeah, I would.
It's an awesome job.
I'd love to know, be a fly on the wall for some of those discussions.
Yeah, he's doing a good job. Hey, this is the closest thing we'll get to it.
Oh, us being general managers?
No, I mean the closest thing to being a fly on the wall.
Oh, yes.
Sly Couturier.
Yes.
On the Inside the Nest podcast.
Joined now by, we can say, our first guest ever. No better guy to start with than Sylvain Couturier, as we're in the hotel on the road. Sylvain just being in the hotel. This is bring back memories of road tripping back in the day as a player or even as a coach?
Oh, for sure. I mean, a long time I've came in the road. I stopped traveling with the team a few years back, and my first road trip, matter of fact. So it's nice to be around the boys and enjoy the next 4 or 5 days for sure.
Does that road trip get any better? I'm sure you're on the road for.
At my age, they're not getting any better. No, they're not. Believe me. It's it's nice when you're young. You enjoy them, and playing for 13 years and be in the league now for 22. Travel for over 12 years with the team, so it's a lot of traveling, and it's nice to be home now. And with the technology that we got, and watching the game on TV now, it's good as being there. So save me a few mileage and save my body a few mileage as well.
Yeah, where you were following us, you weren't tempted to jump on the bus and relive that?
Not really. You guys are doing a great job. I appreciate every comment that you guys made. You don't need me on the road.
You've actually been all over the map. You came back from Philadelphia.
Yes,
or Nashville, I should say.
Exactly, yeah. We start 3 days in Nashville, got there on the Sunday. Game was on Tuesday night. Flew back with the players, all the dad that were there flew back with the players. And
this is a Father's Trip for anyone.
Father's Trip, that's right, yeah.
With the Philadelphia Flyers.
Yeah, so we flew back to Philadelphia. We enjoyed a game together again on the Thursday night. Then we decided to stay there a couple more days. My wife Isabel came and joined us on the Wednesday, so we watched the Thursday's game, Saturday's game, and then on Tuesday we drove to New Jersey, which is about an hour and 15 minutes drive, and watched the game there. Flew out of New Jersey the next day to go back to Sydney. So it was a real nice trip. 4 games in 7 days. A lot of fun. It's always fun. Those fathers sons trips are always pretty needed, and it's nice.
Do you guys do one every year?
It used to be every year. With the COVID, it was canceled for 3 years now, 3 or 4 years that they haven't done it. It was the first time since the COVID. So, but I think I went. It was my fifth or sixth one. I missed a couple, obviously. Sometimes even this year was was December wasn't the best, but I thought, for the first time in 5 or 6 years, I decided that I'll work my schedule to make sure I'm in the trip, and yeah, it was fun. No regrets there.
And Sly is Sean Couturier's father, if anyone did not know that. Because I did not know that. Did I tell you that?
Really?
When I came in here, in the office, so Sly's wife, Isabel, worked in the office, and she said to me, yeah, I'm going away. I'm going to go to Philadelphia. And I was thinking, like, that's a weird place to go to a trip. I was like, why are you going to Philadelphia? And she was like, yeah, my son lives there. And I was like, oh, yeah, he plays hockey? And Joey looked at me and was like, you don't know who her son is? And I was like, no. And she's like, Sean. And I was thinking Sean, Philadelphia. And I was like, oh, okay, I did not know that. So
Dots get connected there.
Yeah.
Now, did Isabel get to go on a mother's trip? Has that been a thing the last few years?
They never had a mother's trip. I hear rumors right now that there's going to be the first one next year. Still, I think the father will step in and no.
I
I'm
gotta
just
spread the
kidding,
love.
but,
Flyers.
just kidding, but it'll be nice for them to go, obviously. But I don't know. The rumors on that trip was that the next year will be the mom's trip.
Probably extra special this year because Sean had some injuries. He hasn't played in a while. He must have been pretty pumped just to see him in person again.
Oh, exactly.
playing.
I think you appreciate more. I think we haven't played over a year. It was almost 2 years. Matter of fact, that he haven't played a year and 3/4. We basically played his last game in December of the prior season. So you got to appreciate more and more. And Sean's not getting any younger either. He's got 6 or 7 years left in his contract, but I don't think that he'll sign another one after this one. So, yeah, no injuries, part of the game, but that was a pretty bad one. Missing 2 surgery in the back in 2 years, so it was tough on him. Was tough, but it was nice to see him back on the line in the lineup. Yeah.
I think
was he right into the league when he was 18?
Yeah, he was drafted. He was a late bird. He was drafted at 18. So
Yeah.
basically, he plays first year. He started at 18. Yeah.
Wow.
So he's been there for I think it's been 13 years now.
Yeah,
12 or 13 years. Yeah.
That just
I-
shows how young 18 is because he still seems like a
Oh,
young
exactly.
guy.
Yeah.
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 And
Wow.
at the end of his current contract, if he finish, and hopefully will finish there, but it will be 19 years with the Flyers. So
Wow.
yeah.
That's really neat. Now, if you knew any Flyers fans in Sydney, you would have known that his son played in
Yeah.
Philadelphia because
There you go.
I frequently get asked, "Oh, is Sean coming to visit his dad?" Not
Yeah.
looking for autographs or anything, but I think my favorite time seeing Sly on the road this year was a road trip in Gatineau because you come in and you're talking about how in the same weekend you're going to watch the Eagles that you work for, you're going to watch your son play, and yet you're going to watch U18 hockey to scout. So how do you balance working with the team you're working with, looking at the future, and also at the same time being a dad?
No, exactly. I think it's tough by time, as I said, and especially being a little bit further in Sydney. But that trip was worked out perfectly. We played Thursday night in Gatineau, like you said. Saturday was the home opener of the Senators, and Sean's first or second weekend back in the lineup after missing 2 years. So and there was 3 or 4 hockey games that I could watch with the midget AAA. So hey. Was perfect. Well worth it.
Yeah, that's not bad. And you played in the queue yourself, and you watch your son play, and now you're GM. How different is the league now when you compare almost 3 different areas that you've seen the league in? It's obviously a lot different from when you played.
It's completely different. Like I said, I play. I was drafted in Laval, and everything's have changed obviously over the last 30 years. As far as I'm concerned, it was 36 years ago, and now with the school and the travel, there was no team in the Maritime back in my days. School wasn't something that the league was paying too much attention to back in the days. And then Sean came in, and there was a few Maritimes teams in the league, and then pay a lot more attention to the school. Everything have changed, though. The way the players have played. No more fighting. 30 years ago, there was
Fight every period, every 5 minutes.
every warm up at least. No, but it's completely different, and it's nice to see. I think we're heading in the right direction. It's not all the rules are people likes, but it's 2024, so you have to progress.
You mentioned the Maritimes there. Obviously, the big news coming out last month with the renaming of the Quebec Maritimes Junior Hockey League. How much has the Maritimes grown into being a crucial part of this league, since you've played?
Big time. It's last year I look at the draft, and there was 12 or 13 players drafted out of our league, and you look at guys like Josh Nadeau, not Josh, but Bradley Nadeau was drafted, and the guys drafted. There was there's as much guys from Quebec than Maritimes that were drafted for the NHL coming from the Maritimes that coming from Quebec. So the Maritimes progressed a lot since the last 22 years. I was in Batters for 20. Now it's my second years in Sydney, but I've seen a lot of progression from the players, the coaching staff, everybody. And there's as much talent. I always said that there's as much talent in the Maritimes than in Quebec. The depth is maybe a little bit different because the population is different. But if you're talking about pure skill and talent, there's as much in the Maritimes than in Quebec. And I think the new commissioner, Mr. Cicchetti, made a great move by naming the league the Maritimes Quebec League. I mean, I know that some people in Quebec didn't like it, but hey, it's the only province in Quebec where when you get married, they keep the name of their first name, and they got always double name, and but now they don't want the Maritimes being implicated with the Quebec League. So for me, it was a great move. If you want so many teams, because there's at least there's 6 teams out of Maritimes, so we have to be involved. We have to be names with the same equal that Quebec for sure.
Now, I'm old enough to remember Marc-Andre Bellevance Fleury coming to training camp because of those hyphenated names. Sometimes they get passed down to the kids.
Yeah. In Quebec, the wife that you married keep his first name. So listen, but no, some people are pissed off because we want to put the Maritimes with Quebec name in the league. Anyway, nonsense for me, but everybody's got his opinion. I respect everybody's opinion, and I got mine.
Well, it's funny because you and your son are emblematic of the growth of the league because you play in a Quebec league that doesn't have any Maritime teams, and then your son grows up in the Maritimes, but has to go to a Quebec team to win. But still, nonetheless, pretty cool. Bathurst will take claim to his development, right, Brad?
That's right.
I hope so.
Well, you mentioned Bathurst. Can you tell me about the transition between when you finished up your playing career into, because you were coaching, is that right, in Bathurst first?
Right. I went in Batters my first 2 years as an assistant coach. I had a brief stint as a head coach. I think it was 8 games, and then came back as an assistant coach to finish that year. And after that third year, they did ask me to be the GM for the following year, and I started with a 1-year contract and was there for 15 or 16 years as a GM. So, it's like I said, I was there for 20 years, and then I got let go from Batters, and within a few hours I got a call from Gerard Shaw, the president of the team, and got an interview a week later and got the job. So I want to stay in hockey, obviously, and when everything happened, there was only 4 or 5 spots as a GM, full-time GM. I have no intention to coach ever again. So I had to make a quick decision. Obviously, there was not too many. Now, last year there was 8 GM spot available. That's now everybody's going with GM and coach. But when it happened 2 years ago, there was a lot of team were hiring coach GM as a double duty, and that I didn't have any intention. So it wasn't like I had a lot of option, but everything happened for a reason, and I'm very happy where I am today. And we definitely tried to build something solid, and I think we're on the right track.
Yeah, and you were, like you said, you were there in Bathurst for so long, and it was really at the tail end of your career that you got that Mem Cup. How did that feel after all those years to?
I feel it's honestly it's something special to win. As a player, I won the Calder Cup, which is in the International Hockey League when
Oh
I
yeah.
play. But to win the Mural Cup, it's they said, and I can definitely agree on it that it's the toughest cup to win. The Mural Cup is the tough one. It's you win lose you lose win you lost one game and you're basically in danger of not winning anything. So it's a tough one to win, but it's anyway, as a management it was great. I mean, and to see the players, you build something, and the players to see that when they start to really believe and know that there's something special coming up, it's something very unique and something that we'll never forget for sure.
Yeah, what do you think was going right that year? I know a little Antoine Waugh was in the building when you guys won the league championship, and I still have nightmares of 88 and 98, Rupsov and Morin playing on that line in Bathurst. What was it about that team? What clicked together for them to win the Memorial Cup?
There was something that we built. The core of the team stayed together, like the Sam Italian and Jeffrey Viel, Antoine Morin that you mentioned. But there was a lot of trade at Christmas. We changed, I think, we made 6 or 7 major trade. But these guys gelled together really quickly, and as we went along, I think we were in the stretch where we won 12 games in a row at one point, and then in the playoff we won the first round in 6 games. It was probably our toughest round to win. Then we beat Sherbrooke and Victo in 4 straight game, and then the final we won in 6 in front of our fans in Batters. But I think just the way the players, the team, the coaches managed the whole thing. You could tell that early on that we were confident. We were a confident group, and they believe in themselves. And to be honest, what I'm witnessing here right now, it's something that I think is something we're probably going to be doing it soon.
That's what we want to hear. That's the $1 million question. How do you
Oh.
replicate that in Cape Breton?
Well, like I said, you look at right now our lineup and what we gonna these guys, how many guys coming back next year and who's coming back, and the way that these guys gel together right now. I think it's a group that are really tight. I can notice that right away, and even on that road trip, like I said, I don't come on the road a lot, but that's one thing I noticed right away yesterday is how tight is this group. And I think we got a lot of assets with picks, a lot of good young players that are in the system right now. And we got, I think, 17 players coming back next year. So you put all that together and you can see the picture that you want in the next couple years. And I think we're in a position that we want to be right now. And definitely we can't panic. We can, it's like I said, it's a tough one to win. The Prison Cup is a tough one, but I'm confident that we're on the right track right now.
Yeah, and we're smack dab in them. Actually, I guess we're pretty much at the end of the trade deadline or the trade period. Tell me about some of the trades that you've made thus far. I guess just within the last week or so. Starting with I guess Noah Larochelle.
Yeah, Noah is a kid that we really liked last year. He was drafted in the 4th round. You always scout the 15 years old, but you always pay attention to other players that are drafted in the league, just in case of exactly what happened last week, where sometimes you talk trades and you want to know everybody. And when we find out that Noah was available, last year he had 31 goals in 38 games. He was a dominant player, and he was playing with his age group, obviously. But he's a guy who compete hard. He compete really hard. We like his compete level. The guy can score, and he's a bit of a Brad Marchand type of player where he's not shy to get on everybody's nerve on the ice. So we like that as well.
I'm sure the Cape Breton fans will also like that.
Oh, I
as
think
well.
he will be. He will be very likable from the fans' standpoint for sure. But yeah, so he became available, and we couldn't pass on him for the price they were asking, especially a fourth round pick. We thought we had a lot of picks, and we said why not? Where we want to go and what we need is exactly what we're looking for.
And he had, which was evident yesterday, coming up here on the bus, is that he had the unique experience of not even really being able to meet the team, but he just kind of got on the bus, or I guess he met us here.
Right, and
Meeting
Romeo
us
came
here
up
when
on the
we're
bus.
just he's thrown right into the mix of things. What is that like? Like, I mean, you've been a player yourself, but as a young
Right.
kid like that.
No, I was straight myself as a player. I have to flew from San Diego to meet. That was a unique story too. I was straight that day from Phoenix, from LA to Detroit, and anyway, meet the boys in the American League. Somebody was waiting for me at the Albany airport, and got there. Snowstorm, was traveling to Utica to play that same night. I got there late. I didn't even think I was going to be playing because the game already started, and they were waiting for me because they sent 3 players in that deal, so they were short of player. And we got to the ring. Game was already just start. So they told me, "Hurry up, you're getting dressed." And at the 7 minutes mark of the first period, I was waiting for a whistle to get on the ice. So anyway, I got to meet my teammates sitting on the bench. Hi, boys, how are you? Introduce myself while the game was going on. But that's part of the game. I mean, Noah, we traded for him on the 31st. We told him nonsense to get to Halifax for one game and then coming back here. So he's from Quebec City. We told him go home, wait for us, and you'll meet your teammate when we get there. So that's what happened. But like I said, it's part of being a hockey player. It doesn't matter which level you play. It's part of the game.
Yeah, I kind of got ahead of myself there, but I guess it was Romeo actually that joined the boys on the bus. We picked him up on the way here, and it's kind of a unique way to meet your new teammates. But I mean, you're thrown right into the thick of things right away. What went into that trade?
Well, he's a kid that we were after for quite some time now. We're having a lot of discussion about him. Uh, we definitely didn't want to at first give a young player like Will Shield, but Will came to me on the 30th or the 29th of December at a meeting with me, and it was obvious that he wasn't happy playing on the fourth line. And my message to him was I give the best example that I gave was Luke Pedersen. He had some struggle early on the season, but now it's playing on the top line, and you have to work to earn what you want. Anyway, after the meeting, I think which Will, he clearly said that if we can accommodate him in the trade, and so that's why it didn't took long, because we were, like I said, after Lucas for quite some time, and he's a player that we really like. Big, strong right winger. I think he's one of the best power forward in the league. Can score right-handed shot. 18 years old. So we decided to go along and then trade Will for Lucas, and we got a pick, a third-round pick that could become a second, depending on Will's performance, I guess, and so we're happy with that. I mean, we're very pleased with the return what we got, and everybody's now we got a team that. From what I can understand, everybody's happy to be here, and we're gonna move forward with these guys.
You mentioned, you mentioned the size that, he's another big boy. Some of the boys were talking about it earlier, but it seems like the Eagles are really coming together as almost one of the bigger teams physically in the league. Is that something that you go after?
I love I love my team being big. Yeah, well, especially where we are. I think we travel a lot. It's hard on the boys, on the players. Bigger you are, better it is for us, and it's tougher to play against a bigger team. Obviously, that's I look last year, 2 years ago, I had a stat. Somebody sent me a stats about the NHL, and you know, not all the time, but the last 10 years, I think Colorado was the exception, where there were 8 or 9 in the league, and when they won the Stanley Cup as the biggest team. But most of the other team, Tampa Bay's been the biggest team for the last 4 or 5 years. They went to 3 finals. Dallas, the year they went to the they were the biggest team in the league. St. Louis, the year they won, was the biggest team. Washington, the same thing. So at the end of the day, I don't care which level you play. I think size matters. And yeah, having Lucas Romeo in the lineup now, we decide to keep and sign Charles-Antoine Lavallée, who's another big boy and played 2 years in the league. He knows the league and he's playing really well for us right now. So we brought some size and we want to be a tough team to play against.
Now, of course, fans are going to have to get used to cheering Thomas Cibulka again because I'm sure they were cursing him when he scored during the Canada-Czech quarterfinal. How long did you have your eyes on him, and just what kind of dynamic does that bring, having such a dynamic power play quarterback, among other things, in his game?
Yeah, like you said, I think he's a guy who's going to run our power play, and that's one thing we want to improve for sure. And he's a good puck moving defenseman, but people forget that he defends well as well. So I think for the price, we pay a good price. We give a 2 second-round pick for him, one this year, one next year. That being said, I mean, you look at what the other players, and it's a good price for 19 years old. At the same time, if we wasn't a European, I'm sure I would have paid a lot more for him. If you look at other trades, so it's a give and take. And at the end of the day, like I said, with so many picks that we had, and how many young players the next year or two that are coming up, and what we got in the system. We were very comfortable to bring a guy with that quality of players that Thomas will bring to what he will bring to the table for us. He's definitely going to be the guy that will play on the power play and run our power play, and he had 28 points in 29 games, something like that. So he was close to be a 70 points player this year before the World Junior. So he's a great acquisition for us, and I think he'll fit right in too.
Speaking of the NHL, can you take us back to kind of like your road to the NHL and your earliest memories of the draft and
Right, the draft was in Montreal, my hometown, so that was very sweet. The whole family was there, and was draft in the 4th round. Back then, there was only 21 teams, so 60. I think it was 65th overall by the LA Kings, and so yeah, it was really nice. Played 3 years in Laval. Was after my first year where I played in Laval that I got drafted at 17 years old or 18 years old, going on 18. But very sweet, very nice memories for sure. Being there with the family at the old Forum of Montreal and get your name called there by an NHL team. It's always something very special.
and did you speak with LA much before?
No, we never have any talk with Ellie or anything like that. I had a few talk with. Remember, my Washington met me a couple of times, and I thought that Washington was gonna draft me, obviously after 2 interview, but no, I was a bit surprised when I heard my name by Ellie.
Laval to Hollywood is a bit of a transition, I would think.
Oh, I was. It was back then. It was the purple and yellow jersey, and they didn't give me a jersey. They gave me a jacket, and it was like satin jacket. It was. My God, I still got it, but it's. I never wore it. It's. Sorry to say that, but it was as ugly as they come. And
They still had the yellow then. You
yeah,
said?
the purple and yellow. Yeah,
No
the
way.
jacket was all purple with three yellow stripe, and yeah, it wasn't pretty.
And what was the first year you were there?
The first year that, after that year, I went to one camp, and my second camp, that's the year that they made the big trade for Wayne Gretzky that brought Gretzky to LA, and then they changed the color of the jersey for silver and black, and but yeah, so after my first camp, we're still Marcel Dion was there and a few legends of hockey that. Then, like I said, the second year there in my second training camp, I had the chance to be there with Gretzky, McSorley, and Krushelewski that they acquire in a big trade.
So what do you remember about your first game?
Uh, it's your first game is always special. I got called up between Christmas and New Year's. I was sitting at home, enjoying my Christmas when I got the call, and basically said that I was gonna go there and play against one game against the Russian. Back then, the Russian were coming in North America, play against different team. So play against the Russian game. During that game, Bobby Carpenter got injured, and so they decided to keep me around, and it was against the Montreal Canadiens. As funny as that sounds, and so it was it was fun. I mean, the LA is coming from Montreal and being only 20 years old back then. It was quite different than being in Montreal for sure.
It must have been. I can't even imagine what it was like to be with the Kings when they make that trade. Like, what was Gretzky like? Did you get to play with him? And what was like the mood like when you trade for him?
Yeah, no, I play with Gretzky. I play with Wayne. Yeah, my first goal, matter of fact, was on an assist of Wayne Gretzky, and my first point was on the goal of Gretzky where I had an assist. So I play a bit with him on the same line, and most likely when I play, I only play 33 games. I play most of the time with Robbie Ty and Dave Taylor. But yeah, like I said, at first when I got there, they didn't. Robbie Ftorek was the coach, and he didn't hesitate. He put me with Wayne Gretzky, and Yeri Curry was the right winger, and yeah, so we had some.
You're only 20?
I was 20 years old. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Welcome to the show, kid.
Yeah, exactly.
That's something else.
And we had on our team growing up. I was a big Montreal Canadian fans, and we had as well Larry Robinson playing on defense, who was for me was a legend, and
Right.
growing up watching him on TV. So yeah, they had a lot of veteran back then. We had a great team. Bernie Nichols, Kelly Rudy was the goalie back then. So yes, well, we had a really good team, and it was nice.
So as a 20-year-old, like, how did Wayne? I'm calling Wayne like I know.
Well, you kind of Sly knows him.
How did Gretzky? Like, how would he treat you as a 20-year-old?
He was so nice. It was like people. I don't think they realize like how nice Wayne Gretzky can be with everybody, not just with the team superstar, but took really good care of the new players coming in. And he was listen. I had nothing but things to say about Wayne Gretzky. He treated me real well, but I have to say that he treated everybody well. He's a leader, and the guy that didn't win 5 or 6, 7 Stanley Cup by luck. He was one of those guys that brought up everybody together, and it was nice.
I like to ask this to different hockey guys. Is there anybody that you played with that you feel doesn't get enough recognition? All these decades later, is there anybody that you thought is underrated?
That's a good question. I mean, I my first year as a coach in major junior, I was assistant coach in batters when Patrice Bergeron was there, and to say that he wasn't recognized wouldn't be fair because they probably going to name a trophy after him as the best defense. They're probably going to change that trophy, that name. But the guy was so good, and people don't realize how good he was. And watching his career, and another classy guy grew up. I really like Patrice Bergeron as a, not just for what he does on the ice, but what he brought to the Boston Bruins organization. And I think he's overall, although that he had a, Hall of Fame career, I think he still was underrated.
And in terms of people you've played with?
In terms of people I play with, again,
Wayne Gretzky.
Never gets us to.
It would
Nobody
be tough
remembers
for me
that
to
guy.
to mention Wayne Gretzky, but for me it's more just Dave Taylor was a guy that I played with at the end of his career, but he was the ultimate pro, and people don't realize what he was like preparation and how he prepared for his game and how classy he was and taking care of everybody as well. not just the hockey player, but the person. Dave Taylor is somebody that I really appreciate to be around.
I think too that LA team, obviously Gretzky comes in and it makes a big difference. But part of the reason they were able to make that move is because they had some of these guys that were coming up that were underrated hockey players. And Dave Taylor's probably one of those guys.
Right, exactly. And the Bernie Nicol was there. Like I said, they had a really good team that year. And then my second year, when my second year pro, uh, they kept me there. Or no, it was my third year pro. They kept me there for the first 40 some games, but I only was dressed for 16. But at least I got to visit all the city and the NHL. And but being around for so long, like I was there till Christmas, and I think after the 40th first game or whatever, they decided to send me back to the American League. But it was nice to be around for that period of time, even though you didn't get dressed every game, and so basically, you look at my career. I understand, honestly. I do understand sometimes the players that we don't dress, and I've been there, and it's no fun, but you try to make the best of it. Obviously, it's another game at the NHL. Obviously, being around those all-star players and those and the salary is not different, way different than in junior. But my point is, you're there to play hockey, and when you're not playing, it's no fun. And I understand sometimes, and I feel for the players that are around our team and not being dressed every game. So it's a tough, really tough. You have to trust the process. Obviously, but yeah, it's my career brought me a lot as a GM that I can relate to the players. Although it's been 30 years or so, it's still something that I can relate.
Is there some ways, because the game has changed so much since maybe your heyday? Is there anything that you feel a different experience that they're having that you didn't have, or vice versa?
Yeah, I know that today's kids, you need to communicate with them. It's communication is very important, and even though sometime I hear the kids saying, lack of communication. 30 years ago, believe me, there was no Nicole here. There was nothing. Like you get to the ring, your jersey was hanging up, you're playing, your jersey was not at your stall, you're not playing, and don't
Wow.
ask any question. Just go sit in the stand and wait for the game to be over. The coach didn't want to talk to you. They didn't have to explain you why, and that was their decision. And today, they want to know why, anyway, which is fine. It's part of where we are today, and I think kids are, obviously smarter than us because you never ask enough question, and no question is a bad question. So back in the days, it was what it was, and you don't play, you just go sit and don't say a word.
We were talking earlier about nicknames in hockey. Obviously, it's synonymous. Actually, I think the guys that just joined the team yesterday, where everybody was trying to think I think even before they got on the bus, what their nickname would
I
be,
think it was
depending.
carrying over from previous teams.
Yeah.
They would just tell them, "Oh, this is what they called me," and
Yeah.
they played here.
Did you have a nickname when you were on the ice?
Always sly, yeah. I think the English people had a lot of a problem with Sylvain and
Right.
pronounce it, so they just mix up my first three letters of the name, and Sly I was always called Sly since Sly, and some guys at some point in the pro called me Coots, but yeah, it was very basic in my case.
That's Sean is generally called Coots as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, Sean's a lot of guys call him Coots. Yeah,
I'll admit your last name is one of the trickier ones to spell.
it is.
Yeah, they use. Is there any good nicknames that stick out of maybe players you played against or heard of?
Um, Yeah, well, I'll keep those for myself. There's a few. No, but there's always story that come up, and then the
Right.
nickname come out, and what happened in Vegas in Vegas.
Or in LA?
Maybe these were getting used as chirps on the ice, perhaps, to opposing players.
Oh, back in the days, there was no limits where how
Right.
far you can go. So, believe me, there was. Today, even myself, I'll probably be suspended a few games for chirping. But there was no limits that you could say and whatever you want. So I got chirped pretty good, but I thought that I was pretty good to answer back in that department.
Now, I don't know if Brad heard when we did the 10 questions, we talked about the food going around the rink. And I don't know, you might not have minded getting scratched in Detroit as much with the food and Joe Louis.
No, Joe Louis Arena. And I got traded to Detroit after, and still in the minor when I played there. After each game, we used to have those Little Caesar pizza in the dressing room, and those are Detroit was one of the Quebec City here. We're doing an interview here in Quebec City, but I saw Wayne Gretzky, and I witnessed this right before the game. Eats 6 hot dogs, and he went on and had 4 or 5 points that night. So
Take notes, Connor Bedard.
Yeah.
So when they said that, pasta and chicken before a meal, I don't. I'm just kidding, but he loved the hot dogs of Quebec and in Montreal as well. Those toasted hot dogs were really good.
He actually had 6.
He had 6 before the game. Yeah, right after warm up, he asked the trainer when he went on the ice for warm up, make sure he got six hot dog in my stall when I come back, and he eats his hot dog and went on and play, and I think it was 2 goals, 3 assists. Or
Wow, what was on the hot dogs? I need to know. I'm a hot dog guy. So.
Mustard and onion.
Oh, okay.
My God, imagine trying to move after 6 hot dogs.
Probably not difficult. You're Wayne Gretzky.
45, or I should say, Colton Riley at our Eagles trainer. He said he told us that you were a big foodie.
A big what?
A big foodie. You like food.
Oh, I love food. Yeah.
What's your in Quebec City? Where would we find you around supper time? Any special spots?
The famous. Well, first when I came in here anywhere in Quebec, doesn't matter if it's Quebec City but there's that chicken place. It's called Benny Barbecue.
Oh yes.
It's a mostly takeout place, but love that place. It's my favorite chicken, and so anywhere I go, I make sure that I stop to have my Benny Barbecue before I go back for sure. And like today, this week we're gonna be here for 4 days. I'm probably gonna have it 3 or 4 times.
Is that the Benny and Co? Is that where?
Yeah, exactly.
That's what we had for lunch today.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
The sauce top notch.
The quarter chickens or whatever.
Exactly. No, this is so good. I mean.
Yeah, those are unreal.
Yeah, it's either the big half of chicken or the chicken poutine. That is amazing. Yeah.
Did the players get you on the Mr. Puffs train? Sorry, Brad, I had to ask. Did the players have you on the Mr. Puffs train?
No.
Oh, you're missing out.
45 was saying, wanted me to ask you how you like your steak cooked.
Rare. Why?
That's what he said. He told me to ask us. It must have been
really rare. Yeah.
Really rare.
I won't say blue, but close.
Close.
Blue. Yeah.
Testing the legal limits of the minimal amount of cooking.
Yeah, not 6 hot dogs though.
No, apparently not. That's strictly a great one move.
Well, if I eat this hot dog, I'm definitely not gonna go play any sport at all.
Be dead.
I know at the Coliseum they used to have the sloppy joes in the media canteen. Was that a thing when you played? Do you remember?
I don't remember, but I know it's popular. Yeah.
Oh, let's say they were good.
So you're, I guess the deadline's coming up in 2 days from now, 3 days from now. It seems like will you be able to kind of take a step back and kind of relax a little bit after this work?
Well, it's going to be tough. I drove here to make sure that if anything happened, I have to meet with the players. So I drove here. I have to drove back 12 hours, and then I'm going to get to Sydney probably Sunday night or Monday, depending on if I decide to stay over one night. But then I have to go to the Ice Jam on Thursday. That's a big tournament. So I'm going to be in Halifax for 3 or 4 days after that, scouting the young prospects. So
Life
after that, maybe I will have time.
In the summer.
This
Not
summer,
even.
Probably.
Yeah.
And finally watch the team you built.
Yeah.
On the recordings after the year's
Yeah.
over.
No, but there's always something. After that, we obviously preparation for the playoff, which I can guarantee we'll be in, and then after the playoff, it's the draft, and and then we'll start again with training camp, and so it's a busy occupation for sure, but I love it. So.
Well, we appreciate you taking the time today, then, out of your busy schedule.
Well, thank you guys. Anytime.
Thanks. This was great.
Thanks
All
a lot.
right.